Let's go make a killing.
All right.
Welcome to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
10 to the 5 to the 4, play one, touchdown!
The sharpest football contest show in the land.
I'll take the action. My Birds, Benjamin Franklin's team, favored by 1.5 points. I'll give you 3 more.
You're now riding shotgun with 2 former contest winners in Brady Kannon and James Salinas. And getting a former player's perspective with 9-year NFL veteran Mike Pritchard. Let's go! As they guide you through strategy, process, and your contest picks each and every week of the season.
I do like the idea of a parlay.
Now here's your host, Brady Kannon.
Welcome in, everybody. The heart of the football contest season is upon us. This is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Brady Kannon, Mike Pritchard, and James Salinas with you for Week 8. Season 2, Episode 10 of the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Let's take a look at the lay of the land. The consensus picks finally had a positive week in both the Circa Sports Million and the Westgate Las Vegas Super Contest. The Circa Sports Million with a big week going 4-1. The Super Contest 3-2 as we had a 2-3 week. Nothing awful, nothing great. We really need to make a move to the positive here if we're going to cash. Super Contest College, a couple of our friends near the top, Bill Krakenberger and Bear Bets, Chris Felica, just a few points out of the lead. Play It Down is currently number 1 with 39.5 points. Black and Purple, 1 point back at 38.5. Only 6 weeks remaining in Super Contest College. So time to make a move or go crazy there if you're trailing. Time to get a little aggressive as time is running out in that contest. Circa Survivor, 4,200 entries still remain, roughly 4,200 entries still involved in Circa Survivor and that $18.7 million prize. Super Contest Survivor, 24 entries still alive. And in Grandissimo at Circa, 15 entries still surviving. Interesting. We'll get to this when we talk about Survivor. The Packers, the Chiefs, the Lions, and the Broncos, as far as the Circa contests are concerned, all play on the holidays. And those teams have been used quite a bit by everybody in this field already. The holidays could get very interesting when it comes to the Circa Survivor contest. Let's get to the card, gentlemen. It is Week 8 in the NFL. A shorter slate here. We've got 6 teams on a bye. Looks like a beauty in Cincinnati. Those red-hot Joe Flacco-led Bengals laying points to the New York Jets. James, I don't know if you'll be watching this one. Will you be betting?
No. If I'm betting it, I'm watching it. I'm not going to, again, another one of these games, I'm not going to subject myself to having to do that early on a Sunday morning. Just thinking about where the Jets are, it just keeps getting worse and worse. They've had it actually defensively the last couple weeks, both against Denver and Carolina. Last week, they had a pretty good showing, but it's the offense. There's been none. There hasn't been any offense in New York for quite a while. And I think now we're seeing where they've talked about the Jets have going back to Tyrod Taylor. He actually gave them their most competitive game as far as the offense was concerned. I think it was in week 3 when they played down in Tampa and fell just a little bit short. But now they had talked about going back to Tyrod Taylor as the starter due to default of just the lack of Justin Fields being able to complete a pass, according to owner Woody Johnson. Why wonder how many passes Woody Johnson can throw getting back out there. Talk about a dysfunctional franchise, starting with the ownership all the way down. But now they may have to put Justin Fields back in there, Pritch, because now we're looking at Tyrod Taylor popping up along with a lot of other players on this Jets roster for the injury report. A lot of players aren't going to play. We know there's Sauce Gardner's not going to play. Garrett Wilson's not going to play, and now Tyrod Taylor's not going to play. Too many question marks. We're sitting here on Friday morning, have not got the practice reports for this Friday for this Jets team. I don't know what that's going to look like at the quarterback spot. I think either way, regardless, this is a bad football team. I wouldn't want to take them. I want nothing to do with the Jets.
Yeah, too many variables in this one. I mean, if you want to lay it with the Bengals, good luck with that because they're one-dimensional with Joe Flacco. Now, being one-dimensional with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, not a bad choice of direction there. But, you know, that gets tricky as we get deeper and deeper into the season. More and more your concepts are on tape. And so if you do get a Jets team that can rally up and be competitive defensively, you know, that makes that point spread kind of in jeopardy for me as well. I like the matchup in terms of the Bengals. I mean, if you like a teaser, that's a good situation there. But for a contest and laying that many points, because I certainly can't get on the dog side. So laying that many points, I don't want to entertain that, Brady. But there are some entertaining games out there, more competitive ones. And you think about the Texans and the 49ers. I mean, the 49ers are interesting because they do seem to get up for games on national TV. And, Christian McCaffrey is just incredible. But how many times can you go to the well and use Christian McCaffrey? You got D'Amico Ryans on the other side who knows this organization very, very well, who knows Kyle Shanahan very, very well. And he's doing a great job with that defense. Now, offensively, Texans are really trying to work out some things. They don't really have that running game to complement C.J. Stroud at all. And he's putting too much on his shoulders. And they've entertained so many coordinators. They just don't seem in sync offensively. And we can go over stats because we are in a situation of the season, Brady, in which the stats start to matter. But it's a more competitive line. I'm leaning towards the 49ers, though, in this one because I think they have enough playmakers on offense to get the job done against that nice defense there in Texas and with the Texans.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. The majority of the bets are on the 49ers. I believe the majority of the money is on the 49ers as well. Yet just this morning on Friday, we have seen that line tick up to 2.5 points in favor of the Houston Texans. And it's interesting because what we saw out of them on Monday night last week did not look good at all. They were just steamrolled by the Seahawks. And it feels like Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan do a good job against their former, coaching mates, but yet the money is climbing on the Texans. So probably a stay away from me. And like you said, Mike, can the Niners keep pulling a rabbit out of their hat with all these injuries? They seem to show up on national TV, but just, somewhere in the corner on a Sunday in Houston, are they going to be able to do it again? We will see. James, it looks like Lamar Jackson may be back in the fold for the Baltimore Ravens, and boy, did they need it. I think they're 1-5. I mean, what an awful start for, I believe, preseason, what was the Super Bowl favorite. It has not gone well for John Harbaugh and the Blackbirds. They will take on the Chicago Bears, who have won 4 in a row. Ben Johnson, a great coaching debut so far. If you crunch the numbers, Mike said this time of year, stats start to matter, and I've started to crunch the stats. The Bears come out a winner in this one, but again, the Ravens, well, now they're starting to get some people back. I could see them being the old Ravens again and stomping this Bears team.
I think we got to see what is Lamar Jackson going to look like. He's been limited in practice. I did see some tape of him yesterday in practice. Didn't look he was moving a little gingerly out there. So it wasn't like it's full speed Lamar Jackson getting back after it and coming out after the bye. I know Baltimore over the last, what has it been, like that last 9 years are 8-1 coming out of their bye. So from a statistical standpoint, as far as trends are concerned, I think that's a good spot for the Ravens. But this is not going to be a contest play for me. This is probably going to be a live betting game for me to go in there. And I know we're just talking about contests, but do a lot of live betting. And this would be the one I need to see how well Lamar Jackson is going to move. Right now, again, posting this here on Friday morning. We haven't seen the injury report. I suspect he's going to play, fellas, but as far as how effective he's going to be, I need to see it on the field before I'm ready to put any money. So as far as a contest selection, this one's off the board.
Yeah, I think that's well said. It's hard, the great unknown, if you're going to put a contest play in, but live wagering, absolutely. Let's see how Lamar is running. And if the Ravens are hot, you jump on board and back them. We take a look at the Miami Dolphins visiting the Atlanta Falcons when we return. Just getting started here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
For your next ultimate golf experience, discover Valley High Golf Club, a tropical paradise on the Las Vegas Strip, featuring lush greenery, water features, Balinese tropical plants, white sand, and black volcanic rock, creating an enchanting atmosphere. Valley High creates a memorable golf experience for a typical foursome, a group celebrating a bachelor or bachelorette party, or your next corporate outing. It's award-winning golf on the Strip, Vegas style. Book your ultimate golf experience now at valleyhighgolfclub.com.
Steiner's, a Nevada-style pub, invites you to play the best keno and video poker in Las Vegas. Promos are how we roll, so make the most of your gaming dollars with ongoing promotions, daily free play, bonuses, and more. With a chance to win Knights, Raiders, Aviators tickets, and big money with all those jackpots. It's not only great gaming at Steiner's, it's the 24 awesome rotating draft beers and the best appetizers to match. Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub, with 3 locations across the Vegas Valley. Steiner's, I love this place.
Welcome back to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circus Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. James Salinas, Brady Kannon, and Mike Pritchard with you. And we have made our way to the largest cocktail party, Florida versus Georgia. Oh, wait, yeah, no, well, kind of. The Dolphins and the Falcons. And boy, the Dolphins, they still haven't gotten rid of their coach yet. The Falcons coming off of a tough loss to the 49ers. They come back home. Michael Penix Jr., not sure if it's going to be he or Kirk Cousins. They're laying a big number, Mr. Pritchard. 7.5-point favorites are the Atlanta Falcons, your former club. What do you think?
Yeah, great recipe for the Pritchard teaser. My former teams, whether it's Seattle or Denver, now you got the Falcons here. So, and a good situation at home too. One of the things about football that starts to reveal itself is teams that really want to be physical or know how to be physical, and certain teams that know how to play at home versus trying to play on the road, and then teams that are just dysfunctional. I mean, you mentioned the Dolphins. We know that they're dysfunctional. Can they put it together for 60 minutes and be competitive against a team in the Atlanta Falcons that play very, very well at home? And they had the great recipe, what I mean by wanting to be physical, a dominating running game, and then also a defense that was second in the league behind Cleveland when you think about the stats right now. And so that's where it starts to matter for me, when the physical elements of the game, defense, and then running a football says that you're pretty decent that way against a team that's dysfunctional. Now, it's a big number to lay from a contest standpoint, but my goodness, I'm all over this, James. From a teaser standpoint, I cannot wait to really figure out which other legs I want with this teaser situation, but I'm excited about this game.
I think for a contest play, there's only one side, and it's the Falcons side, just from the fact of what you talked about, the dysfunction going on, not only in the locker room. I think that translates out on the field for this Miami Dolphins team, and they look like a flag football team. They don't want to put a shoulder. They don't want to put a hat on anything or anybody, and they spend more time pointing fingers at themselves than they actually do pointing fingers at their opponent, saying, let's get after it. They're not getting that done. And now I think for Atlanta, night and day as far as the home and road splits, but in particular, the matchup, and looking at the matchup for this Miami Dolphins defense, they don't tackle, they don't stop anybody on the ground. And now you're going to have to face Bijan Robinson. You think about the Miami defense thus far through their season, and those 7 games, they've given up over 100 yards to running backs in 5 of those games. One of those games, Jonathan Taylor only got 98 yards. What a scrub. Couldn't get 100 yards against these guys. I mean, this is where this defense is. I think it's the Bijan Robinson show, and they just continue to pound the football, move the sticks, playing ahead of the chains, and dominate the ball. And I think as the game progresses, Brady, this becomes a one-way street, in particular in the second half. And so I think even though it's a large number, I think there's only one side to play, and it's the Falcons laying 7.5 in the contest.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a gift that Mike McDaniel hasn't been fired yet. We can continue to bet against the Miami Dolphins until they show any sign of change. And actually a positive that came out of that loss to the 49ers for the Falcons, once again, for the 5th time this year, they held their opponent to a season low in yardage totaled. So like you said, Mike, that defense continues to be very, very good. A much improved pass rush for the Atlanta Falcons. Pretty impressive. And I wonder, is this Raheem Morris getting better as a coach? When you can't go out and do it necessarily on the road, but he's got more talent. Is he getting better as a coach, or does he just have a lot of talent? I don't know. That's a discussion for another show, probably. Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Carolina Panthers. Dave Canales has got it going. And Mike, you reminded me last night, oh, by the way, this team is 4-3. Not too shabby. Almost catching up to their opponent, the Buffalo Bills, who have lost 2 in a row. I don't know which way to go with this one, Mike. The Bills, I love a team that is struggling, that goes into a bye week to kind of get things right. And then I like to bet on them coming out the other side, which would be Buffalo. But, the running attack of this Panthers team against that lack of run defense for Buffalo, that it's a good matchup for Carolina as well. I don't know which way to go with this one. A lot of points.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
The Bills are laying.
Yeah, it's a number there that I think the Panthers, and we know what they are at home, but I go back to that recipe again. And I mean, they're sneaky decent on defense. But offensively, with Rico, they just found a different identity too. And the game is more simple for who's ever playing quarterback. And okay, Bryce Young's not playing. We get it. The Red Rifle's going to go out there. Can he put it together for a solid 60 minutes as a starter, preparation during the week, knowing that 50% of the plays are going to go with the running game? I mean, if this is a low scoring game, and Buffalo doesn't run away with it, then obviously that favors the Panthers in the situation, that big number. And you got the Bills coming off a bye week. And here's my assessment of the Bills. They're the same old Buffalo Bills. They don't play physical defensively. They're a finesse team. And they rely so heavily on Josh Allen making plays, not only throwing the ball, but certainly with his legs and being that type of guy. On the outside, they are really missing a difference maker at the position that they need most. I mean, the tight ends, they get healthy, okay, but it's just still the same offense. It's still the same formula that they've been using. They haven't evolved at all. Whereas you see the Panthers kind of evolving with Rico Dowdell and in that running game. So Canales is doing things differently. Surprisingly, they are overachieving, which that comes hard for teams in that division. But if this is a tight game and Carolina is different at home, I like the Panthers in this matchup.
I kind of side that way too, Mike. You talked about it's all on Josh Allen's shoulders, and they don't have that. They can't stretch the field down the field as far as the passing attack. I think Keon Coleman was supposed to do that, but he hasn't stepped into that role and have any consistency as far as being able to get open, catch the football down the field, and be that big time playmaker to take some of the pressure off Josh Allen in the running game. I think the one thing that kind of gives me pause is the fact that, and I like Hubbard and the way that he attacks the ground game, but Rico Dowdell is one of those guys that pounds the football and gets better as the games go on because he initiates contact and he is such a physical runner. The fact that he's now splitting carries with Hubbard being back and healthy, I think that kind of impacts and lessens his impact as far as Dowdell being able to wear teams down in that second half, and in particular a Bills team that doesn't play the run very well. So for me, Brady, I'd like the Panthers. I just don't think it's going to make the contest for me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Maybe Joe Brady will listen to the critics and lean on James Cook more in this game. We will see. Tough one to figure out here, but definitely a lean with the Panthers. We look at a rematch in the NFC East, the Giants and the Eagles, when we return on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
San Diego is home to Wolfpack Hospitality Restaurants, located in beautiful La Jolla. Stop by Cove House, Shore Rider, and Dough Mama Pizzeria on your next trip. Visit Cove House, a top 100 brunch in California, or Shore Rider, serving up margaritas, fish tacos, and a vibe that will make you feel like a regular in no time. For a slice of New York-style pizza with a California twist, it's Dough Mama Pizzeria, where the wings and pizza draw compliments from around the world. Go to wolfpackhospitality.com, and we will look forward to seeing you at Cove House, Shore Rider, and Dough Mama Pizzeria.
We head to the Link in Philadelphia for the rematch. We saw this matchup just a few weeks ago between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. James, it was out your way. The colossal collapse, 33 points in the fourth quarter by the Denver Broncos. They beat the New York Giants. How does this team get up off the mat to meet their division foe in the Philadelphia Eagles, who are at home and laying 7 and a hook this week, James?
I think, thinking about that's what you got to figure out. This is a young team. You don't really know how they're going to bounce back being in that situation. I suspected it was going to be a flat spot for Denver coming off all the different travel games that they had 4 weeks prior to coming back, especially coming back from England. And it really was that first half, really lifeless effort from the Denver Broncos against the Giants. But Giants, in typical fashion, find a way to not win and finish a game like this that's non-conference. And now going for the have to go back against the Eagles that, ever since they lost that game 2 weeks ago on that short week Thursday night, they didn't really bring the effort. That's the challenge with those Thursday night games. We've talked about it before. Makes it difficult to really try to figure out where is a team's mindset, because especially those teams that have to travel on the short week, Now the other side, the psychological edge with Philly wanting to get that game back because of get that bad taste out of their mouth here, Pritch, for the Eagles. No AJ Brown. We're most likely not going to be out there. Didn't practice so far this week with a hamstring injury. Probably not a bad thing. Now if he doesn't play, I don't know if that's such a bad thing for the Eagles to say, look, let's get back to rushing the football, get back to our strengths and pound the rock 4 downs going forward. And let's see this Giants defense hold up. Physically, I think the other piece, psychologically, Pritch, do the Giants, are they able to get that taste out of their mouth this week and be able to reset themselves for a competitive matchup on the road at Philly?
Yeah, it's going to be hard for a young team. I mean, they preach to you to forget and move on, but that's hard to do, especially when you had a game like that. You saw Jackson Dart, and how disappointed he was at the end of that game. And you're reflecting on the plays, right? I mean, the Giants, they got to learn how to win games. Don't throw an interception deep in your own territory. Pick up the blitzing linebacker, Scatterboo. Don't get your ass ran over and force your quarterback to throw a bad ball. I mean, those plays right there are why the Giants lost the game more so than the Broncos winning the game. And so you start to think about that. You start to dwell on those things, and they start to fester as a young player. And so you got to get above that. And I don't know if the Giants are there yet. We'll find out a lot about this football team, though. I think in this football game, there's a chance they can get the doors blown off here and get blown out if you got an Eagles team that's pretty hungry. But the Eagles, they still have some dissension in that locker room too, and running it back and trying to be a defending champion. I mean, that takes a toll on you too. So this game is a tricky one for me. Divisional game is probably a tighter game, but I don't know if I can lay it with the Eagles. You go to another matchup too, guys, where the Patriots are surprising people with a 5-2 record. And they play the Cleveland Browns. And you look at this number, okay, the Browns, are they even going to score? They're even going to get in the red zone. But if they can take away one element on one side or something that's favorable for the Patriots, and then this game gets difficult for a young quarterback too there in Drake Mays. So you got a Browns team that gives up just 3.3 yards per rush defensively against a team that wants to run a football. They play you in a phone booth. I'm talking about the Cleveland Browns. And I don't know, Brady, if the Patriots can break out of that phone booth and play the style of game that they want to play. In other words, dictate to the Browns. If they can, they could cover this number because the Browns certainly are inept offensively trying to score the football.
Yeah, and we saw them put up 31 points last week, and I think that gives this team some confidence that they do have the capability to put some points on the board. And I think it's a weird spot for New England. They have worked so hard. They've won 4 in a row, 3 in a row on the road, the travel, the back and forth, and the success that they've experienced. It feels like they finally get home and they just kind of exhale and they say, wow, now what? What's next? And bang, here comes one of the best defenses in the league. And like you said, Mike, they can absolutely stop the run, and the Patriots are not good at running the football. So, James, to me, I think Cleveland can make New England one-dimensional. And if they can defend Drake May, they can keep this one close, if not win it.
That's the defense. And I like the Cleveland defense coming in. As you talked about the road trips, 3 straight games on the road, 4 wins in a row for New England. I like the spot here. To me, it feels like a flat spot coming back home against a Cleveland Browns team that's not a great team, but they are defensively. I think they show up, and a lot of love for Will Campbell, first-round draft pick at left tackle, played well so far, but he's going to run against Myles Garrett. I think Garrett's very motivated to show that he's going to establish himself at the line of scrimmage. It is going to be a one-dimensional team. I do like the points with the Browns.
Kind of excited to watch this game. I think this will be a pretty interesting game to watch on Sunday. We get into Survivor talk. A lot of big favorites out there in Week 8 when we return right on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
When the football contest crew isn't busy dominating the field and making plays that leave opponents in the dust, they're doing something just as exciting. They're playing My Vegas Slots. It's a top-ranked, free-to-play mobile app that lets you earn valuable real-world rewards from amazing partners like MGM Grand, Bellagio, and Norwegian Cruise Line. You can score hotel stays, great meals, show tickets, and more just for playing. Download My Vegas Slots today from your favorite app store. And if you're anything like Brady, James, and Mike, we know you're going to love it. That's a winning play you won't want to miss.
Welcome back to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Brady Kannon, James Salinas, and Mike Pritchard with you. Check us out online, all the information, where to find us, the podcast, YouTube, what have you, footballcontestshow.com, footballcontestshow.com. All of our picks, the results, what have you, everything in a one-stop shop. Let's get to Survivor talk here. And we do have some big favorites, a lot of 6.5, 7.5 point favorites on the board this week. Mike, I'll start with you. And this is a topic I broke I teased at the beginning of the program. We have a lot of teams. Now, this does not apply to SuperContest Survivor. There are no holiday individual weeks there. But in Circa Survivor Contest, the Grandissimo and Circa Survivor Traditional, of course, we have those individual weeks, Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. The Packers, the Chiefs, the Lions, and the Broncos all play on Christmas or Thanksgiving or both. And those teams have been used quite a bit in Survivor already. And now you also have the Chiefs looking like what could be a very popular pick this week in a 12-point spread against the Washington Commanders coming to town on Monday night. So, it's quite the balancing act here in week 8 going forward.
Yeah, it is. And, you think about we're a week away from November, really. And then just a few weeks away from those holidays, right? And that big test right there. I wonder what the rate of elimination is going to be between now and Thanksgiving. But the process of elimination is something that I would look at. For instance, if the Cowboys, if you're even entertaining them, then you need to fly to Denver, Colorado, and go to James's basement and start drinking with him. If you're going to use Dallas and that defense and 16 million on the line, I think elimination too. I mean, the Packers, they're Jekyll and Hyde a little bit. I don't know if I would trust them with 16 million. So just from a process of elimination, okay, I gotta really look and examine the Chiefs. Are they for real? Detroit. Do they play with this chip on their shoulder, both shoulders, for the remaining of the season, which is probable. And so, you look at those situations and these teams that you can use multiple times or not multiple times, but multiple opportunities because of the holidays. I think you go through a process of elimination, but you got to get there too. And so you have some intriguing matchups. If you got multiple entries, you're okay. But if you got one, and say you've used the Broncos already, or say you had to use the Chiefs, or you've used the Colts, what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to have to start sweating it out. But if you have multiple entries, and I think this is what's going to happen, we have a big group of players or entries still in the Survivor as we approach the holidays. I don't know if they're going to chop that up. But if we have this big elimination and then all of a sudden, there's just a couple hundred entries left or something like that around the holidays, which I don't know if that's likely, then maybe we'll start to see some creation in terms of syndicates and people grouping together to have more entries to split up that 16 million. So there's so many different game theories I think are about to come into play, guys, as we enter the month of November.
So I think the game theory for me would be, if we were alive, which we're not, but it would be more so of, we got to think about in Circa Survivor, thinking about who you're going to sustain. I think that's the challenge of who you're going to sustain for Thanksgiving and Christmas to make it through 20, to go 20-0, or at least 19-0 before you potentially could chop some things up. But, and this piece here too is looking at, who is it, instead of who are you going to play on, it's who are you going to play against, and which teams would you say these are the teams to start fading? And doesn't matter unless it's one of the teams from Thanksgiving or Christmas. Team like Miami, this team is in auto fade mode, right? We know that is a bad football team. It's not going to get any better. Same thing with Tennessee. Not going to get any better. They don't have a coach right now. No, they have an interim, but McCoy's not going to be their coach going forward. So that team's a complete wreck. They get to play Indy. If you have Indy, I mean, mark that one on the card right now. But it's more so which teams are not going to get better as the season progresses and are looking towards 2026, not only from a roster standpoint, but also from an organizational standpoint. It might be the coaching staff, most likely, as well as potentially front office guys. Miami fits that bill right now. We know that Tennessee fits that bill. Brady, are there any other teams? I think there's a couple other teams that come to mind. We're talking about teams that are going to be an auto fade going forward, not only for Survivor, but also potentially in our contest.
Well, I want to ask you about the Monday night game, and this is an interesting one here. Are the Washington Commanders, approaching auto fade? You have talked about it, James. They exceeded expectations so greatly last year, and now they are definitely experiencing some regression in the form of injury as well. Now they're getting more healthy this week, but Jaden Daniels not expected to play. It'll be Marcus Mariota again. I made this number 5 in favor of the Chiefs. And then, of course, you have the Chiefs who will play on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Do you want to use them? I made this number 5 with considering that Daniels was going to play. Now it looks like he won't. How much of an adjustment is there? Do we go all the way to 12.5 points in favor of Kansas City in this one, James? And everybody else is back. Debo, Terry McLaurin. What do you think? I mean, I got to believe it will be a popular Survivor play.
Survivor, most likely, depending on what you have saved up for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But as far as ATS and contest in particular, I like the other side. I'll take the number. I think for this matchup here for Washington, playing as the favorite and the expectations falling short of that. Now, this is a team that doesn't have any expectations, not so much for the rest of the season. Jaden Daniels is not finished for the year. He will be back. He's a dynamic quarterback and a great playmaker for them. He'll be back, and so they'll be able to right themselves once he's back fully healthy. Hasn't really been healthy for the last 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, but this is a team that still we're not going to have they've already gone through the front office change. Talk about dysfunction. They have cleared all that out starting at the top with the ownership over the last couple of years. And with Dan Quinn there, they've got their coach moving forward. Maybe Kingsbury finds himself another position. We'll see if he's really head coach material. But I think from the organizational standpoint with the coaching staff, this team is intact. They're building their culture. This is an opportunity here where there's no expectations. Yeah, you're going on the road and you're not going to be able to beat Kansas City in Arrowhead on Monday Night Football, but maybe this is that little bit of it's Monday Night Football. You're going to get up for it as the home team in Kansas City, but do they go full throttle for 4 quarters? I kind of suspect not, thinking about where Kansas City is in their schedule. Some good wins, some big wins lately, but they have a trip to Buffalo next week. That's a big game for Kansas City and within their conference. So taking that 12.5, fellas, I'm all about it. I like Washington this on Monday night.
Mike, real quick, you've played in the Superdome quite a bit throughout your career, and this is maybe a survivor pick. Maybe some people will land on the Buccaneers, but against the spread, this one ought to be interesting. Tampa Bay laying 4 points on the road at New Orleans. Any initial thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's too much. I mean, Baker is banged up. He's on the injury report, but they don't list injury, and he's spending time in the training room, so he's probably got multiple things that are slowing him down. Now, he's going to play, but he is ailing. And then no Mike Evans, and then I think they're running out of that Baker magic that made him a guy who I gravitated towards from MVP standpoint. But last week against Detroit, the guy was not the same. So the Saints, it's not a rivalry game, but it is one of those games where familiarity comes into play, and you got the Saints that are really desperate to try to show that they're improving before they do start to trade pieces, perhaps. So this is a last for all type of game for the Saints, and therefore a dangerous one if you want to lay it with the Bucs, in my opinion.
All right, when we come back, we've talked about the Broncos, we've talked about the Cowboys. They will meet each other in the Mile High City. We'll discuss that game next, right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Want to gamble like the pros? At LasVegasAdvisor.com, you'll find the world's best how-to books, software, and strategy cards featuring blackjack, poker, video poker, and of course, sports betting, including the Stanford Wong Classic Sharp Sports Betting. Don't forget LVA's Member Rewards coupon book, offering discounts on dining and entertainment, including a buy one, get one for the awesome lobster buffet at the Palms, and more than $700 in gambling-free play, match play, and bonus offers. Up your gambling game today at LasVegasAdvisor.com.
Las Vegas isn't just a place to play, it's a great place to live. Louis Payon with Magenta Real Estate is a trusted 5-star real estate professional who's called Vegas home for over 3 decades. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Louis will guide you every step of the way with proven strategies that deliver results. Call Louis today at 702-849-7160. That's 702-849-7160. Louis Payon is the official realtor of the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Welcome back. It is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, making our way through the Week 8 card. And Mr. Pritchard, we've got another former team of yours up next here, hosting the Dallas Cowboys. It will be the Denver Broncos. They are 3.5-point favorites in the Westgate SuperContest. They are 3-point favorites in the Circa Sports Millions. So it's a pretty key difference there between the two contests. And we talked about the New York Giants. How do they bounce back after that collapse last week? How does Denver respond, Mike, after that incredible comeback victory?
Well, those kind of victories can build momentum. It can also build more confidence in the locker room as well, too. So I think it's everything for the Broncos. I mean, they're going to be at home again in this one, and they're going to put on those throwback uniforms that everybody wants them to go back to. But it's going to be a different atmosphere. I mean, you think about the road home field advantage that the Denver Broncos have enjoyed for a long, long time. And that went away for a moment since Super Bowl 50. Now, it seems like they got it back, James. You could probably speak on this more, but that's a different animal when you're in a visiting team and you're coming into that environment and then having to suck wind as well in that first quarter. The Denver Broncos, though, they're not that team that gets out to a fast start offensively, and so you worry about that. But defensively, this is a good matchup, even though there's CeeDee Lamb and Pickens on the other side, and Dak Prescott's having one of his best years that he's had in a long, long time, if not ever. But they're one-dimensional. I mean, the Cowboys are one-dimensional. They're okay with that. I think they'll move CeeDee Lamb around and probably try to break down that defense, the secondary, if you will. But how are they going to contend with that pass rush that Denver Broncos have and that energy in the building? I mean, that's one thing that you have to do from the jump. If you're Dallas, you have to match that energy to try to compete and stick with the Broncos. And so it's a tricky number. It's 3.5, but it's one of those situations where if all the momentum's on Denver, it's a good matchup, a solid matchup. I'm attracted to the Broncos in this matchup, guys, because we know the Cowboys, they don't play defense. They don't have a defense. They're looking for people to trade for in terms of helping out that defense. So that tells you all you need to know, I think, for this football game, this matchup, a great matchup for the Broncos.
I think it's a good matchup too, Pritch, the defense. And for Dallas, they're comfortable playing games in the 30s. This game is not going to be in the 30s. This is a Denver defense that is they're leading the league in sacks by a wide margin. And I think here, because they are one-dimensional and you are playing at home, this is where that pass rush is going to be able to get off because they're not having to sit. The play action is not going to matter. You're going to see Dak in shotgun for basically the entirety of the game. To me, the defense is really going to come down to Riley Moss on that corner. Teams have been going after Riley Moss. We've seen it consistently. And yeah, there's times where he gets beat, but he also makes plays. And the more that you're going to go attack Riley Moss, that is down the field. While the longer pass plays, you're going to have to try to get down the field to take advantage of Riley Moss on that corner. Is more time for that pass rush to get home with no threat of a running game. I think it does get home, fellas. I think this is where bit of a flat spot last week for Denver. They had just played 4 out of the last 5 games on the road, including just coming back from London. So it was really kind of just a travel weary team. Well, now they get to feel good about how they play for 1 quarter. Got to play well for 4 quarters. You want to cover this game. But for this game here, now fully motivated, fully excited. And I always said it, Brady, that star on the helmet of the Dallas Cowboys is more like a target. Everybody gets up to play the Cowboys. There are no flat spots in the schedule for the opponents that are playing the Cowboys each and every week. I really like Denver in this spot. I know it's 3-1 of the contest, 3.5 in the other. So probably something we'll have to discuss as far as, are we willing to lay the 3.5 as opposed to the 3 for both contests here. But I really do like Denver in this spot.
Yeah, I think the Dallas Cowboys, and we talked about it with the Atlanta Falcons, the Dallas Cowboys, too, are a much different team on the road. The last time they were on the road, they lost to the Carolina Panthers. We'll see if they can keep up that good work that they're doing inside Jerry's world out here on the road at Mile High. NBC is going to do a big trip down Narrative Street with the Sunday Night Football matchup, and that is the Green Bay Packers visiting the Pittsburgh Steelers and their former quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Pittsburgh is on extra rest here, Mike. This ought to be a good one, too, and you mentioned it earlier, and I'm with you. Green Bay is Jekyll and Hyde. They come out, they open the year, and they beat the Detroit Lions, and everybody wants to, buy them for a trip to the Super Bowl. Micah Parsons, they've looked kind of vanilla. They should have lost last week. They lost to the Browns. They tied the Cowboys. I'm not all that impressed with the Green Bay Packers at this point, 7 weeks into the season, Mike.
Yeah, I'm not either. There's some things going on with the floor too, and that team hasn't learned how to be front runners or be favorites, in my opinion. Like, I know a lot of people after the beginning and the start of the year, oh my God, the Green Bay Packers, and maybe they started to read the press a little bit about that. But this is a game, guys, where Pittsburgh is going to be in a one possession football game. Right. I mean, sometimes they'll skew it. Sometimes they'll beat Cleveland, but that's Cleveland, right? And then sometimes they'll lose to Seattle by multiple possessions. But for the most part, the Steelers will be in a one possession game. So at home, who are you going to trust more? I mean, you can say Aaron Rodgers is over the hill a little bit, but that guy's going to be motivated going up against Green Bay. And then I don't know if it's going to be the same kind of feeling for Green Bay facing the Steelers in terms of that motivation. I mean, this is Aaron's former team and a team in which he became a Hall of Famer and a special place for him, right? He wants to retire as a Green Bay Packer. But this is Aaron Rodgers trying to distinguish himself away from that too. So it's not that I'm backing Aaron Rodgers in this one. I'm just backing the notion that Tomlin, he's going to have this team in a one possession situation. The Steelers are going to be in that one possession situation in the fourth quarter. And can the Green Bay Packers make enough plays on the road to kind of solidify a cover there? I don't think so. I mean, I like the Steelers in this one, guys.
I like the Steelers too. Real quick, Brady, I think we're talking about Aaron Rodgers and his revenge tour. I don't know if it's so much revenge. He loves the Packers. He wants to retire as a Packer. But what about the expectations now and the pressure on Jordan Love to say this is why we moved on from Aaron Rodgers is because of me? I think he presses and I think he struggles on the road. Pittsburgh wanted to redeem themselves defensively, that poor performance on a Thursday night in division. I like the Steelers as the home dog here. I'm all about Pittsburgh.
Yep, I'm with you guys. We'll talk about it more and release all of our picks when we come back right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Want to enter the biggest and best football contests in Las Vegas? Look no further than footballcontest.com to get the info you need to succeed. Covering Circa Million, Circa Survivor, Grandissimo, and every super contest at the Westgate Superbook. Reserve the most trusted proxy service in the business now at footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have been leaders in the industry for 20 years. They submit your picks while you focus on picking winners. Experience matters. Go with the pros at footballcontest.com and start winning now.
It is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Brady Kannon, James Salinas, and Mike Pritchard with you. It is time to release our cards for Week 8 in the Circa Sports Million and the Westgate Super Contest. We'll start with the million over at Circa. We're going to go with the Browns getting the full 7 points. The Steelers catching 3 at home on Sunday night. The Commanders on Monday night getting 12.5. The Falcons laying 7.5 at home to the Dolphins. And then finally, the Broncos laying 3 points at home to the Cowboys. In the Westgate Super Contest, we're going to mix it up a little bit because there's some key numbers that are different in the two contests this week. The Steelers will stick with them catching the 3. The Commanders will stay with them getting the 12.5, and the Falcons laying the 7.5. But we mix it up here with the Saints at home catching 4 against the Buccaneers, and then the Panthers getting 7 at home, welcoming the Buffalo Bills to town. Mike, if you have any comments on the card, whatever, fire away. But I brought this up earlier in the show, and I think it's really interesting for someone like you as a former pro, a 9-year veteran, Raheem Morris. We have been very critical of him on the program here for a couple seasons. I have believed he's not a great coach. Is he improving? Or does he just have more talent? I think a sign of a good coach is a coach that can go out on the road and win a big game. Now, they held San Francisco to a very low total in yards, but they didn't look very good in that game. Is that a reflection on Morris? Is he getting better? Is he just have a better team? What is your assessment of this guy 7 weeks into 2025?
Yeah, you know what, Brady, it's a great question. I think we compare and contrast here when you think about coaching. Ben Johnson is a guy who I would use here, because you think about that roster, you think about the job that he's doing so far, and the improvements that you're seeing. You got a team that's pretty much the same as they were last year, and you got a quarterback that nobody knew what direction he was going to go in. But this team has a winning record now. They got a 4-game winning streak, but they're disciplined. I mean, Caleb's only thrown 3 interceptions. They lead the league in turnover differential, as well as play selection, and being in the top 5 in terms of these teams. They're in great company with teams that are really balanced, meaning 50-50 run-pass ratio, pass-run ratio. So they're very disciplined, and they're improving. So whereas, I think the Falcons, and the information I got in terms of the team that I used to play for, they were excited about the changes that they made, the improvements that they've made defensively with some of the players. And then we all know, I mean, it's an all-star lineup for them offensively. It was just about the quarterback position and whether or not that was going to develop. So I think Raheem Morris is better, but I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's a good coach, but he turns into an even better coach with more talent. Whereas I think Ben Johnson, and there's some other coaches out there that fit the bill, where they are going to get the most out of players. And we can see that developing throughout the season so far.
Well, so let's scratch the Falcons, because we talk ourselves into, and sometimes we talk ourselves out of certain teams week to week. Oh yeah, never mind. The Falcons are playing Miami. So yeah, you're going to look like a great coach anytime you're playing the Dolphins, right? So I think this is the week to not assess how well Raheem Morris is, whether he's going north or south as the coach based on the matchup. But we have done that. And I think that's I know we do. We have a meeting prior to us taping the show of thinking about where we're at and where we're going to go, but we don't settle on all of our picks, and we kind of talk through them. We'll work through them right here as we're discussing it right here on the show. And I think from that standpoint here, we've been critical of Raheem Morris, not so much with the preparation, but more so the in-game management and the play calls, and just because that's part of being a coach too. So it's not just win during the week with the X's and O's and the preparation. That's a big part of it. A lot of games on Sundays are won during the week, but also you've got to be able to manage in-game. And I think that's where we've seen Raheem Morris really fall short. I don't think that applies this week. I think let's go ahead. We'll keep them on the card as far as the Falcons go over the Miami Dolphins. But aside from that here, I think I'll reserve judgment. The Falcons just feel like a front runner. When things are going well, you're playing at home, you get the lead. Yeah, they play with the lead well. Bijan Robinson will definitely help you do that, Brady. But beyond that, this is a team that doesn't play well when they're behind. They don't play well when they're on the road either. So I'll reserve judgment going forward. But as far as this week's concerned, let's keep the Falcons on the card.
As far as this week's concerned, Raheem Morris, just win, baby. We're going to stick with you. And hey, let's be honest here. This team has been very good at home. Let's hope they turn that trick again here, laying 7.5 against the Miami Dolphins. The Browns, the Steelers, the Commanders, they're on both cards. The Falcons, Broncos in Circa Sports Million, Saints and Panthers in the Westgate SuperContest. Have a great week 8, everybody. Cash some tickets, and we'll be back with you for week 9 of the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Thanks for tuning in to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Don't you just love football? God, what a fun sport.
Subscribe today on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts to receive weekly alerts as soon as the show's available. Good luck with your contest selections.
Pay that man his money.
And we'll talk to you next week.